Coming from the Caveman Studios in Buffalo, New York. Welcome to Caveman Corner with your host, Jeff.
Captain Caveman!
Thanks.
Click subscribe and the bell. Do it now!
Hey guys, I'm here with Billy Logan and Beth. We're here to talk about boxing. We're here to talk about your guys' story. I heard it from one of my from Amanda, one of my students, and it sounded amazing. So let's start with that, I guess. So what happened? What, you were sick or something? Your daughter took care of you, and then now you're boxing coaching, something like that, man. It sounded amazing.
Yeah, what happened is Beth and her sister came to live with us, me and my wife. And she's actually, her and her sister are my wife's biological grandchildren. And this happened around 2011. And we took them in and, they stayed with us. And, I moved to Milwaukee and back and forth. And when they turned about 6 and 7, we had them into Taekwondo. And this was around 2017. So with that, I became sick. I actually started going into renal kidney failure. And what happened is this was right as we began to have them into classes. Well, I got sicker and sicker, and I had to go through dialysis. And Beth and her sister really took into taking care of me. Now, if anybody's been through dialysis, what you get hooked up to is a cycler, and it cycles your blood and cleans your blood. It's actually what the kidney does, but it does it artificially. So with that, you have to go in and you have to hook up to a machine where it's hooked up to your belly. And you do that pretty much all night. So at the age of 7 years old, she became more attracted to it. She just wanted to do it and learn how to do it. So as a part of doing it, they tell you how to do it on yourself. So I in turn told her how to do it. So at 7 years old, she had her gloves and she had her mask and a whole infection zone protection and stuff really that an adult nurse does. So someone going through nursing school does. And everything I learned from that, I taught to her. So she stayed by me side by side for the entire time that I went through the dialysis. So every night she would be up there and she'd be ready. She'd be scrubbing herself with putting on the gloves, putting on the mask, and would come in and do that. And she learned a few different procedures how to do that. And after that happened, and I got the kidney transplant where I no longer needed that. So with that in mind, I wanted to pay her back for that. And even post that, I had another infection where she actually administered a PICC line, which is like for antibiotics, like really hardcore antibiotics. And she did the same thing, at 8 years old, put it all through. And, so I figured that kind of, she learns that way by doing things. So, practically saving my life, so from that point, I wanted to do as much as I could for her. And first it started out Taekwondo, but then it got into boxing. And so even though maybe sometimes she might not like it, I keep her on a real heavy track of training. It's been, throughout the years, it's been 10 hours a week. It's been, 5 hours a week. We go in and we discuss, certain strategies. I do a lot of reading and audiobooks. and I take some of them concepts and I give them to her, not telling them what exactly they are, but some, I paraphrase a lot of the stuff. I get into, Art of War stuff, Book of Five Rings, Carl Van Clausewitz, for things that are imply strategy and war philosophy. And I try to embed some of this stuff, even though she might not actively be listening. It's sinking in. So part of our our boxing journey is a learning journey, and it's not to make her just a boxer. It's the it's the foundation and the principles behind it.
That's pretty awesome. So I don't mean to cut you short. I still want to hear more of your story, but it seems like when you sign up for like Taekwondo or karate or something, that's kind of what you assume you're going to get from the martial arts dude. And like, you don't always get that anymore in today's like karate and martial arts. It's, about making money, and, you still learn technique, but it's really about making money. It's not so much like the discipline and the knowledge that you're imbuing into her. That sounds amazing. Especially like, you actually like listen to like really classical strategy stuff, and you're empowering into her like knowledge that's been around for hundreds and sometimes thousands of years. Like Art of War's been around for thousands of years,
Yeah.
And that's some awesome deep stuff.
Yeah, it's hard for especially a kid to really digest, what the principles are. But when you really look at her as a fighter now, she's only 14 years old, but she has a very high boxing acumen inside the ring. She really observes a lot of stuff, and she's learned from a few pros that have given her tricks to use. And she picks up on them really easy. So, it's more of a holistic thing than it is, just to be the boxing champion. There's so much more components to it, and it's more, which I think there's a lot of people that want it, but I don't believe there's a lot of people that teach it. And that's where, where the business side is, and then where some of the glory side is. And then, martial arts are basically school.
For sure. The school, it should be a school of discipline, school of like learning the philosophy, and school for, actually learning martial arts for developing yourself into a martial artist.
Yes.
And it's always a struggle for like, I own a gym myself, and I know it's a struggle to impart all those things. And sometimes you have to do it in like little games, and you have to do it in you have to do it get school every class with Caveman. Sometimes you have to do it just with sayings, and you just say it enough, like slow is smooth, smooth is fast, and learn to do it properly, and then you can do it execute it at a high level. And sometimes you just have to do it with little sayings and stuff. And I like where you're going with her. I got a question for you, Beth, if you're already talking on the podcast. What drew you into helping your grandpa? Like, that seems like a scary thing for a 7-year-old, like seeing your grandpa hooked up to machines and stuff, but not you. You went and you helped him. And to me, it shows a lot of courage.
Yeah, when I was a kid, I was really interested with like nursing and doctors, so I helped him, and it's just been my thing when I was a kid.
Is that something you're still interested in now? Are you gonna follow that as a career path?
Not that much, but when I was a kid, I was.
Yeah, there's some, like, it seems fun and it's awesome to help people, but there's a lot of work attached to it, and there's a lot of sadness that goes with it too. I'm sure you've seen a lot of suffering for Grandpa, and it says a lot about you as a person that you were able to do this for Grandpa. And actually, I didn't even think you were the grandfather, granddaughter. I thought you were father, daughter for a second. Like, so this is even a cooler story, man. That's pretty heavy. That's a lot to do.
Yeah. She's good with it. It's we have such a rapport. It's funny because it's it's like more like a friend than it is, an adult to a child. I mean, we kid around and we do a lot of things that, sometimes we even get mad at each other.
No, that would never happen. Not a 14-year-old girl.
No, not at all. She's so reasonable.
I totally get that. We were texting a whole bunch and like back and forth. And I know that you have a good depth of knowledge in boxing. You want to talk about how you got into boxing, how you had a depth of knowledge to help Beth, and where you guys are going with boxing?
Yeah. Okay. Where I started, and it's probably even before your time, but it's wide world of sports. I was about 1970s or like 1970, and wide world of sports had Muhammad Ali, Joe Frazier, George Foreman. That was on like every week. So I watched a lot of that, and then my dad, he was a boxing fan, and he would take me to the Buffalo Golden Gloves at the Memorial Auditorium. And it was combat sports was included wrestling at that time. They had some Dominic DeNucci and Bo Oberzel and all these old wrestling guys, and that was our entertainment. And so boxing, I became a boxing fan way back then, and then my parents bought me a heavy bag and a speed bag that we used to train in downstairs in our basement. And we didn't really have a boxing gym that was too close, but I was playing sports every year, so I was year round. And when I used to train for hockey, I would train to fight. and so we didn't have the internet to learn how to really learn. So a lot of it was like watching Wide World of Sports, reading books like, Ring Magazine, Burt Sugar articles. There were, just instructional boxing magazines when I was a kid. Even Kung Fu magazines. So, anything that I could find on training, I would. And, going through the ages. And then when Beth got into boxing, I decided to become a boxing official. Now, I worked at the casino as a gaming investigator, and I was worked for the bank as anti-money money laundering investigator. So I had a good knowledge of policies and procedures and rules and regulations. So it was a perfect fit to be an official. Now, when we were signing up for our tournaments, right? She's a big girl, and she's in a 178 plus bracket, and we couldn't find any local bouts in one, her age bracket, and two, her size, her weight bracket. So we had to go nationally and sign up for national tournaments. And fortunately, we had a couple places that we could go. And one was the women's national tournament was last year. So we signed up, and the coach didn't really want to go. So he didn't want her, to compete. And so I said, I'll sign up as a coach. So I took the class and became an administrative coach. And I do the same things that the coaches do on the road, except I'm not the trainer. I always put it that I'm an administrative coach. I get her to the spots, right? I get her to training, and I take her to the experts who are the experts in training. I know enough about the strategic parts of it, so I can corner her. All I need is, just to make sure her hands are wrapped, make sure the bucket's there, get all the logistic stuff to do the corner. And that's how we got into coaching.
Yeah, that's an interesting way to get there too. So you weren't not like a professional boxer or anything. So you learned along the way to help your granddaughter. That's a lot deeper than I thought too. Like I thought you were just like a pro and then you're like teaching her. Like, no, this is like a really good story, man.
Well, you know what? I take on to things, and I jump on things really like quick and become obsessive with them. Like even like philosophy. I've been I go on kicks like for Greek philosophy, and then I'll start doing all this reading on them, studying on it, and then next thing I know, and that's the way I've learned things throughout my life. And on the side, I'm an artist too, so I'm a wood carver. So it's and this is just one of those components, and it just attracted me. There was a need for it, and now now, hey, I got a champion. I'm a coach of one fighter, and it's the national champion.
Yeah, that's a cool thing to say. I got a question for you, and I don't know how you will interpret this question, but like, how are you looked at the gym? It seems like you came in from outside the sport,
Yeah.
and now you're coaching your daughter or your granddaughter, who's excellent. Do they respect you? Do you get like respect in the gym? Like, what's it like in the gym with the other coaches and guys?
Well, you know what? I believe for the most part, but you never know, right? You never know who's talking behind your back. But you know
I
what?
don't. I just mean like in front of your face.
No,
Like
in
if
general,
someone don't like it, it's
everybody's been great. Everyone, you know
yeah.
what? It's funny because we've been doing it for a while. We've been to all the gyms in Niagara Falls, and since she was a black belt in Taekwondo, she's been practicing before with Team Sundara, and she's known them for quite a few years. So like Sean Doyle, Mike Stevens, Pat Sundara. She even used to spar Mackenzie Musgrove, and they have since they're practicing at fight night where we practice. It's like it's a family there, and that's where we're at fight night. And we usually have the Muay Thai K4 and one, and then the boxers on the other. And Kristen Alcime is building a great foundation for women fighters as well. So it's a very progressive gym right now.
That's amazing. And my students over there training as well, so I know like it's a great vibe and she speaks very highly of it as well. What's it like for you to try and get sparring? Is I know you're like you said, you're 14 and you're in a weight class that's hard to get partners. What's it like to try and get sparring in?
Um, in the ring it's pretty tough because I can't let loose, and but usually I learn a lot of things in the ring, try to get new moves, getting to spar different people, and I used to spar older men, so that's
Yeah.
how I probably got tough, and then yeah.
I'd imagine that you'd have to be in there with some guys to like actually be able to swat because if you're much bigger than your opponents at 14, like I can't imagine you like there's too many 14-year-old girls your age, your weight, like you probably have to like set up sparring for like weeks ahead of time to get someone your ability level and your size. So you're either stuck sparring smaller people or men. And or maybe not even men, maybe young men like boys. I'm just saying men is like 16, 15, 16, 17, 18, but like bigger, like guys and like a guy that's close your way is going to hit much harder, I would imagine.
Yeah, and in the same light, she's talking about holding back. A lot of the females are older, but they're a lot they're a lot less weight. So when she talks about hitting, I'm like she can really like pack a punch. She's been doing it for so long. Her form is really solid.
Mm-hmm.
So when she talks about holding back, she has to really hold back and kind of touch spar.
Yeah, I can imagine like you can't like really put your weight behind your jab, so you can't really even fire your jab out, like without driving all your weight into it. If you're fighting a much smaller person, or a girl that's like 15, 20 pounds lighter, they're probably gonna get fired up, and then they're gonna hit you hard, and then you're gonna end up hurting them. Like, do you run into that a lot, or is it pretty good where you're at?
It's like it's kind of weird because like I don't know.
Yeah, well, as in competition, you always have those parts that you get kind of mad at. Someone, maybe just doesn't mean to hit you, and you get it right, you get it right in the nose.
Mm-hmm.
There's always that, right? So it can be frustrating. Sometimes she does get frustrated because she doesn't, she can't put that extra hit on her, but that's fine. It's just a part of it. We're not there to hurt people, and she's not there to be hurt as well.
Right, for sure. And sometimes when you're going light, those are like sometimes people try and take advantage of you too. Like I coach, so I've been, I spar with all the new people to make sure that no one gets hurt. And like sometimes, man, these guys, they don't know, like there's like going like 100% on you, and you're like, you really want to put them in their place at times, and like that you are able to not do that at 14 is, in my opinion, like awesome. When I was 14, I was a savage, dude. I would not be able to hold back. I was not very controlled, and maybe because I was a guy, but I'm very impressed by you. I think that's an awesome thing.
And it's great that the class at Fight Night is building, and it's they have a good rapport with everybody. Nobody really gets too out of hand. But to tell you the truth, I'm finding female fighters are like that in general. The last tournament that we went to last year, where she won 3 of her bouts. It was so good. Everybody was helping each other. There were a couple of times we needed some help, and the coaches stood right in. We've had a few people. Coach Deb from Rochester, she came out and helped us in the corner for her first bout that she won, and it was great. Algeria was with her. Algeria Johnson was there, and she won the Golden Gloves this recent past Golden Gloves. So it was really great to have her in our corner as well to just give her some advice. Part of it was calming down. What I think people don't realize is when you go to another level, right? So you go from maybe local to regional, or regional to national. It's a whole new vibe, and there's so many distractions there that can pull you out of your mode, right? It's like distracting. It could be something like the warm-up area is different, the gloves
Right.
right? It's like all those things that you just have to contend with. And when you have a certain like a comfort level of like the local area, then you get comfortable with that, and then you go to regional and you get blown away because it could be anything. Your Uber wasn't right, or it's just something stupid. So I think that for her to be exposed to at such an early age is an incredible benefit.
I think that's a huge help too. It's only going to make you better and better and better. What's the plan moving forward? I mean, you're 14 now. How long are you going to box for? Are you looking to make a career out of it? Are you looking to do it just through school? Just doing it to blow off steam? What's the future for you, Beth?
It's kind of weird because, like, since I'm young, I still don't know what to do for the future. And sometimes I do think about continuing boxing for the future, but sometimes I just feel like I want to do something else more. So,
What else would you want to do?
I kind of want to do cosmetology and stuff.
Why can't you do both?
Probably can.
That'd be great. Like if you're a good cosmetologist, you can fix up some black eyes and just saying.
There's a go. She'd be the best cut man in the,
Yeah, yeah.
industry.
You can make it disappear. Do you ever get weird look? Do you ever like get facially bruised up and you gotta go to school and people are like, man, what happened? Do you worry about your looks at all? Obviously you're a very good looking young lady. Do you worry about like coming to school with black eye or swelled up lips or like any kind of stuff like that?
Well, I only get bruised, and
Yeah.
usually I like bruises, and it makes me look badass. So
I love it. I love it. You sound like a person after my own heart. Vi Butt says hello. I don't know if you know her or not.
Okay.
Yeah, Vi Butts.
Oh, okay. Hello, Vi.
Yeah, she's shooting a shout out. Are you looking at more tournaments this year while you're still very interested in it, or what's next for you, Beth?
actually, in a week, I'm going to the women's championship.
Awesome. So where's that at?
Lafayette, Louisiana.
Oh man, that's a haul.
Yeah,
You got Vi Butts says from volleyball.
that's
We're
it.
on
Yeah,
the same volleyball team.
yeah, Vi. Okay,
Yeah.
sorry.
Yeah.
I just know her as Vi.
Yeah, the Butts has got to be a tough last name too. It's like being a boxer girl. So, you going to Louisiana? How do you fund all your boxing? That sounds pretty expensive.
Well, for this time, we have a shirt that we'll be selling. We had a few sponsors and actually helped us get the cost of printing it. And then we held a couple other fundraisers. It is going to be it's since we're indigenous, we actually got all indigenous sponsors to be on the shirt. So it's going to be a team smoke, indigenous team smoke boxing shirt for for sale to help raise more funds. And they'll be out for $25. We got a printing of 100 right now, and we can always reprint it if we sell out. But we got a few smoke shops, a few on various reses too. We got a group from Tuscarora. We got a group from Cattaraugus. We got another one from Six Nations, where she's originally from. So we got a fair amount of sponsors to help fund us.
That sounds pretty amazing. Is there a way for regular fans to get a T-shirt? Do you guys have to know someone? Is there a website? Like,
you know what, we'll sell. Probably post our things on our Team Smoke Boxing Instagram and our Team Smoke Boxing Facebook.
I will. So what happens is these stream live.
Yeah.
And when they stream live, I don't have a lot of stuff to put in the headers or anything because I really honestly don't know what we're going to talk about.
Yeah.
When I re-edit this and I post it, which will probably be like sometime this week, I will put all those links in the comment section. So when people watch it, they can just click on the link. And then if you're watching it there right now, just click on the link and you should be able to find the T-shirts right now. So we just time travel. We're really now days in the future when someone's watching this.
That'll be great.
Yeah. There's some philosophy for you. Look at we're like science fiction book now.
And you can contact us through if people are at the gym that we go to fight night, if they just DM us, we can travel for if you getting a couple shirts.
For sure. And then you have so much social media following. What did you do to build up your social media?
You know what? It was, I think it was just sharing other people's content. And then you get one thing that is viral that you kind of hooked into, and it grows. So, it just kind of takes one or two good things.
Yeah, I was really surprised when Amanda reached out. I never really heard you guys before.
Yeah.
And I looked at your social media. I was like, wow, this must be something pretty big. And then I saw you guys were local, and I was like, wow, what's going on? This is a very impressive social media following.
Yeah, I push. I have do artwork too. So
Mhm.
with that, I kind of do them both at the same time. So it's I try to throw one or two posts out, and it's a matter of just getting them out there. Some days you can't even do it. You run into things, and it makes it really hard.
Man, I can't believe you're grandpa and you're more technology apt than I am. I'm
Yeah,
struggle with
yeah.
even just doing this podcast and it does it for me. I'm like, like sometimes I click the wrong button and I close things and can't save it. But
Oh,
you're a
that
busy
happens.
guy.
You should see. There's a lot of swearing involved into
Yeah.
getting to that level.
Or is Beth the secret behind the sauce? Is she the one that's really doing all the social media stuff?
You know what? I do more than her, to tell you the truth.
Wow.
She does, yeah. She does some, but I'll show her. When I do something, I throw it to her. I say, "Hey, did you see this?" And then she'll look at it, and you know. So it's me doing it and
Yeah,
putting
I
it
can't even
together.
make a thumbnail. So like whenever I need something made, I need help. I force to my son.
Yeah.
So I send it to him and then he figures it out. Like he's smart and I'm not so smart. So he he figures everything out for me. Do you think being a fighter and being native helps you, or do you think it hurts you?
I think it helps to give, like, for people to know natives more and what they can do. And I just like to get to know more natives, and then we can all be together and get to know each other.
Yeah, we're trying to hook up and with as many as that we can. In fact, I was at a fight last night in Welland that one of our friends from Oneida had a fight. So we like to try to connect with as many natives, and hopefully within the next year or two we can write a program that would help indigenous youth kind of find a discipline. With native youth, there's a lot of problems with suicide. There's a lot of problems with drugs, and it holds the same social economic problems that are in the hood, right? So it's very much the same. Very, very similar circumstances where, single mothers raising kids. And, so I think this is, something that could benefit all Native nations on separate reservations. And if, eventually we could hook up and get maybe even to compete within our own or even just hold bouts. Because there's several nations here that have quite a lot of money. They could run a formative program. Seneca Nation has a great facility, two great facilities, one in Cattaraugus and one in Allegheny. And they could hold a good amount of people if they decide to start, promoting events. And
I
not
fought at
just,
Allegheny a bunch and Seneca, like the Seneca Niagara, like up here, like they have
well,
boxing all the time too. They should really get behind you guys and like maybe make some amateur bouts for you too.
that's the thing, because I mean, that the business of the casino's one thing, but also the business of the community centers is another. So they don't really have to go into the coffers of their cash cow. They could, do it from from the money that they can get grants for or community services, and be able to really launch something that could be formidable and really be a good program. Now, when I'm thinking of a program in mind, I'm thinking, something that can involve the community, where maybe you can get some elders, especially if there's people, females, 20-year-old females that might be single. You could have elders come in there and watch their kids during training. You can get nation members to come in there and learn how to box and then take that back and then teach their members. And so I'm kind of in the process of writing that. I'm looking at female boxers at the moment because I think females are they're a marginalized demographic to begin with, but they also are very good learners, and they're very resilient, and they're very compassionate, and they're hard workers.
1000%. And I hopefully that I really truly hope that you can get something going. Amanda tagged Christian Print up in here. He works at the casino as well. He's native as well.
Yeah, I know him. I used to work there. Yeah.
Yeah, so hopefully maybe he can see something, and I don't know, who knows. But if we get enough attention to you guys, maybe we can get something going. Shout out to my man Ruben Roundstone, a native, fighting in bare knuckle fighting. I had him on the podcast. He's doing very well. I'm sorry, what's that?
That's great. Yeah. And Patchy too, right? He's from he hangs out with a bunch of natives down in he's from like Lakeview, Angola.
Oh yeah, for sure, man. Pat's the real deal too. Like he's an amazing guy too.
Yeah.
Ruben's like put together native boxing on a reservation that he's on. He's right outside of Canada. I'm not sure exactly where he is. Not around here, over on the other side of the state, out of the country. Yeah, but he was able to put together programs too. So I'll tag him in this later, and then maybe he can help you guys out too.
That would be awesome.
He's got some write-ups or something.
That would be awesome.
Mm-hmm. And then speaking of women in boxing, I mean, I'd be remiss if we don't touch on the Olympic controversy going on with Main Khalif or Khalaf. I'm not really sure how to say her name. She was born a biological female, but apparently her testosterone is really high, and she has XY chromosomes. What do you think about her boxing other females?
Well, you know what? I think a lot of people jumped on it because of the trying to get an immediate response. Now, when we look at the source of the information, right? We look at the source of the information and we are drawn back to the IBA, right? That they are the ones that said that their testosterone, they labeled them as males, right? That was kind of how this story broke, right? The IOC cleared them, right? And part of that was accepting their documentation, which is their passports that saying they're female. If we look at that, and there's strict things in law in Algeria about being transgender, so that's another component of it. So when we jump on things prematurely, I think that's part of the problem in the kind of clickbait society that we live in. There have been controversial things, especially with USA Boxing having a transgender policy and being able to explore that. And they also use the testosterone levels, but I think they use a window of 4 years prior to being able to compete. I don't know if there's any cases of anybody actual transgender fighting occurring yet, because it's still kind of a new thing. But if they're female and they're considered female, but my question is testosterone the real sole indicator that they should be relying on? I mean, there's all sorts of competitive advantages in boxing and in combat sports. Now, testosterone levels, I think for men can vary from under 10, right? So they can be like 9.2 to like in the 30s. And for women, they're generally a lot lower. And I think like what are they, nanomoles, or it's like percentage of, in the blood. So is testosterone the key, or are other, and the other part is, are they female? Are they born female? And are there going to be certain cases where, are they going to be, a part of both, or they're going to have, anomalies? We don't know. And that's kind of, I think they explore it by case basis. So it's really hard to know, because I wouldn't want Beth going against someone her weight class, because she's like super heavy. I mean, super heavyweight class.
There's no unlimited weight either, right? Correct.
Yeah, and
So
if someone, she
yeah,
could possibly, that, that's like you're getting into like, Mike Tyson size, right? So I wouldn't want her to be able to fight that.
I agree. My whole thing with the whole thing, when I first saw it, I thought it was a transgender athlete, because the way the headlines were, it looked like it was a transgender. It was a man that, was born a male and then fighting females, which is obviously not the case, as everyone should know by now. If you don't know, this was not a biological male, it was a biological female with the XY chromosome. And from everything I've read, she's failed testosterone tests in the past. So she has an elevated level of testosterone, which has made her unable to box. And I think if you fail the testosterone test as a woman, you should not be allowed to compete. Don't take this the wrong way, but women's sports are supposed to be like a protected class, like you're fighting other females. And the reason is because to me personally, like, men and women are different, and men are built stronger and more durable than women. And if you don't believe that, you've never participated in a combat sport.
Yeah.
If we were the same weight and I was a male and you were a woman, and we both trained the same, I would beat you 100% of the time, I believe. If I don't train and you train, you might beat me 100% of the time too. But if we're equally trained, I'm gonna win, like I would say, every time, if we're equal weight, male and female.
Yeah.
And I think if you transition from being a male, you still have a lot of those innate advantages. I don't think you should be allowed to compete in another sport. Justin Hubbard asks, what about males with elevated testosterone? A lot of sports, combat sports, test you for testosterone. If your testosterone is too high as a male, you're also not allowed to compete. Because we're tested, like when I fight, I'm tested every time. Because I'm in New York, I'm always fighting out of state, so like we're tested a lot too. This is different than a lot of other things in life. You can get changed forever. I'm sure you've seen it. I'm sure you've seen people in the gym that are changed forever. It doesn't take too many shots to change you. And I don't care what you do in life. And I don't really care, even like, like soccer and basketball, it's really not the same thing as it is when you're fighting someone. If you haven't done it, this sport, obviously, like Beth, like there's differences. Have you been in there with like a pro man yet?
Yeah.
Yeah.
Yeah, it's different, right?
Yes,
yeah. You're bigger than him, right? It's a different world, and there's a lot. Sport is not made to have disadvantages when people get really hurt, and I think we need to keep the playing field fair for females, especially in I believe in all sports, but 1,000% in combat sports, and I think we're losing a message with it. It's okay to accept people, and then like just because we accept your life choice doesn't mean that you should have the same ability to compete, because life's not fair. I would love to be in the UFC, right? I don't have the ability to be in the UFC. I had the ability to fight other men. If I fought women, maybe I might not even be able to be in the UFC if I fought women, to be honest with you. But I believe I would be. So, life's not always fair, and your choices in life dictate how your life is. If you choose to change your life, that's fine, and that should just bar you from combat sports, in my opinion. And then if your testosterone is too high, it gives you an unfair advantage as a woman, I think. So like there's women's sports and there's men's sports, but men's sports are not exclusive to women. Like if you're good enough in a man's sport and you're a woman, you can come play. There's no, it's an meritocracy. So if you're the best female, like there's been females in the NHL, there been close to females in the NBA, right? Like you can, if you're good enough, you can make that league as a woman. Um, but we have women's leagues to protect women, so they're allowed to compete. And like I just believe in the sanctity of sport. I really think that we need to make sure. Now, I don't know the true facts about this case because obviously everything's been blown up. If her testosterone level's fine, and like it's always been fine. I don't have a problem with her boxing. Obviously she's lost fights before, but in MMA we had this guy Fallon Fox that fought women, and he lost to a woman too, but he fucked up a lot of women, and one of them was my friend. And like I don't want to see that. Like she almost quit fighting for sure. Like she fought a man and she didn't know it was a man. Like that's not okay. And it was in California. She got beat up. I don't know if you know Fallon Fox, that whole case, but she was fighting girls in MMA and beating them up. And some girl that made UFC actually beat her, and then like she quit, and it kind of all died out. But like this is not okay. This is a sport that changes lives with the damage that we take. I don't know. That's my thoughts.
Well, I think, you know what? I think, when we look back and how quick it got out, right? It really went viral on all, for all matters. And I don't think you'll find too many people that say that they should be competing against women. That's why it was such a kind of a shocker, right? But you also have to consider that the IBA has a beef against the IOC, right? The
Right.
International Boxing Association, right? There used to be the AIBA, and they got banned from by the IOC because they're tied to Russian oligarchs, and they have a lot of actually, because it was my former life as a money laundering specialist, that they had people on the SDN, which is specified designated nationals. So these are people from the U.S. can't deal with in any kind of business because they're tied to corruption or dictator regimes. So with money laundering, you can't be dealing with these people, and their president was one of these designees, and they failed to comply with the IOC's regulations. They gave them what they call a notice of violation, and they hadn't complied, and they willfully ignored all the reports that the IOC helped them to try to rectify it. So they kind of have a reason to discredit the Olympics, right? In Olympic boxing. And I would think you might find out that maybe later this will be a disinformation kind of campaign.
It seemed like that from the start, to be honest with you, the way the headlines came out.
Yeah.
Every headline you see is like male boxer beats up female boxer. That's all I saw over and over again.
Yeah.
And you've seen the reasonable people that watch this. They start out mad, and then the reasonable people are like, "Oh, I was wrong," because now the facts come out. But now you still don't know what's going on. And the Russians, we're talking about that right now, Justin. And now you don't really know what the true story is. Did she truly fail a testosterone test? Maybe she didn't fail a testosterone test at all. Maybe we're just going after this woman who deserves to be able to fight. She obviously was born a woman, and I think a lot of people are like trashing her still, even now, like all the true information is out, and I don't think that's okay either. I think it's such a touchy detail, and like this is something that shouldn't really be politicized because this is about the health of fighters. This is something that is beyond like being a Republican, beyond being a Democrat. It's like the health of fighters, and
Yeah.
like not too many things touch me deeply. And this is one of the things that touch me deeply because I've seen people affected by this, and I know the difference. I'm in the gym every day. I know the difference between men and women. There's a huge, huge difference, and it should not be allowed to fight each other.
Yeah.
And like I'll never be, no matter what anyone says in the comments or says anything, they can come into the gym and they can see for themselves and see like what we do to each other, like just sparring. And you can see like it's not the same thing. This is something where we we still need to treat women with respect they deserve because if not, like why would they even come and compete, right? Like we're making this is the best thing that you can do is when we can protect yourself. You can take on untrained people. You can test yourself in combat. Like to me, this is what I've lived my whole life doing, and
Yeah.
like I don't want to see that tarnished.
Yeah. Well, oddly enough, too, it was the other one, that Lin Yu Ming,
Yeah,
and there wasn't much problem. However, that the IBA never released any of the test information that
yeah, it's all like we tested, but then there's also HIPAA laws too, so you don't really know.
Yes.
Like you just want the truth. Like,
Yeah.
is there testosterone? Is there not testosterone? That's really like we obviously know she's already born with female genitalia. No, I don't mean to get too graphic,
Yeah.
but like she's a female by birth, right? So that's fine. So she's a female. Like you can't say she's a man. You can't say all these things that you can say. We can say that she has elevated level of testosterone and makes her ineligible to compete.
Yeah.
That's it. Like I don't know. Obviously with a daughter, you're in the gym all the time. You see the same things, and I'm sure you wouldn't want your daughter to compete against a 286-pound man for sure.
Well, we have people that come in there for self-development, to lose weight. We have people that, it's just the competition part is where it becomes problemsome.
Right.
I mean,
For sure. Like you should definitely be in the gym. Don't get me wrong at all. Like
Yeah.
you should be training. And
Yeah.
if you want to compete, I don't know, you might not be able to get fair competition.
Yeah.
And that's a sad thing. But sometimes life is not is a sad place, and it's going to be a sadder story if people get ruined by it.
Yeah.
That's
Yeah.
that's my 2 cents. Like I was just wondering what obviously you had a daughter in the sport. I figured you'd be right along the same lines, and I knew that you know about the IOC and IDA and all the stuff, and that's kind of stuff I was interested about, and that you were a money laundering guy. Man, that made this so much better too. I didn't know any of this stuff, so I brought this guy on, and he had like a lot of answers that I didn't know was going to come on. Man, that was really awesome.
Well, good. I'm good. I'm glad you have this here.
Yeah, and like this is kind of like a super controversial topic and something that I kind of want to talk about because my friends asked me, and kind of want to talk about on the podcast, but I don't want to finish on this note. I want to. What is the best thing about boxing that you enjoy, Beth?
I enjoy going to new places that I haven't been to, going to new states, finding new people, learning about like more styles, and I just like it and just find new people.
And I've got one question for you, Billy. You obviously been working with your granddaughter a lot of time. What brings you the most joy working with Beth?
Wow, that's you know what? There's so many components of it. It can be as simple as the car ride there or back that we're reflecting or we're coming up with a strategy, and then I see her use it. There's things that we go over to. I like her to be able to switch, switch hit. I like her to to parry shots down. I like her to, it's kind of funny because when we were first doing it, I'm yelling out, things in the corner, and what has become the most recent strategy is that she knows what she's doing inside the ring. basically I'm a cheerleader. Because she ain't gonna listen to me anyways, right? You're in the ring, you don't hear it, you're tunneled on what you're doing. And a lot of times she told me this, that you're just giving away my strategy when you call out things. And which was a great observation. A lot of times it's just calling out like, okay, go, go, go. So when she gets back from into the corner, then we talk about what the strategic plan says. And one thing I noticed she does, she listens to what the other opponent's doing. Like if they're calling 1s and 2s or 3s and 4s, she's waiting for them to do it, and then she's ready with a counter. She does that all the time. She like I said, she has a high acumen for a 14-year-old girl. I mean, she has a high acumen for an 18-year-old guy. She's ring awareness, and I'm very proud of her on a daily. Anytime that we go into the gym and she don't want to go, that's what I'm proud of. I'm proud of when she comes in the gym, she says nobody's here. And I said, you're wrong, you're here. Sometimes it's all about that. It's those little lessons that we have with each other, the little talks. It could be something as simple as a rap song that we listen to and that we'll remember, as we, there's songs that come on. I said, oh, you remember this? And yeah, it's like, it's a kind of cool because we're building a history. And now that, I've had a major health issue. So, hey, I could be gone tomorrow. I could be gone, 20 years from now. But at least, you have to be pragmatic and make those memories as poignant as possible.
Yeah, I like that a lot. I don't know if this will help you. With my fighters, we try and have like code words, like so we'll have specific combinations that we have queued up because in our style we know who we're gonna fight. So like I know you guys go to tournaments and it's not exactly the same thing, but we know who we're gonna fight and we know what we're gonna do off of things. So I come up with like keywords like steak or Arby's or McDonald's, and then like every fighter's got the same code words and there are different combinations for each fighter. So like when we fight multiple people from the same gym, like if they hear the combination in one fight and it comes to the next fight, it's gonna be different, So like this is one thing I've done so like I don't give away my game plan for my fighters because I realized I was doing this like years ago. And I'm like, man, I need to do something different because like I call something and then they know it's coming too, So or sometimes we fake it. We'll have it like I'll call out stuff, but I have a word in front of it that makes it a fake, so everyone knows it's like my guys know it's a fake, so not to do it and try and draw a response from like the combination of things coming. And like that's just another level of mind games for you. That's a lot of thinking for your fighter though, so like, you have to have a little bit more experienced fighters to be able to do that. And then Beth, I want to leave you with this. My father recently passed. He passed this year, and there are times where I didn't really like him that much. I work with him, so like just like you're doing now, you're working with your grandfather, but like I actually like really worked with him like at a job. So like you get your feelings twisted a little bit more than when you're just doing a fun sport. But these are going to be the best times of your life, and don't waste them. Anytime you get a chance to do this, like the days that suck, someday you're going to be like, man, I really miss these days. So keep that in your heart and in your mind. And I can't believe what an awesome thing you did for your grandpa. And I can't believe that, man, Billy, you're giving back more than she gave you. And this is like something that both you guys will have for the rest of your lives. You're going to have it till you die, Billy, and you're going to carry it with you for the rest of your life, Beth. So just enjoy each other. Thank you guys so much for coming on a podcast. I heard your story and like it touched me, like it's I'm getting old and like having my midlife crisis, so like all these stories I really feel, and I really appreciate having you guys on.
Well, Jeff, I appreciate you, and I much condolences for your dad, and but it's like it puts things in a good frame for us. So I appreciate you, and I appreciate being on your show.
Thank you so much. And anytime you got anything coming up, I know you're going there. If I can help you sell T-shirts, I'll advertise on all my social medias too. When I see it, I'll repost it. And if you got anything you're going to, or you need help to fundraising, come back on the podcast, jump on. When's you want to plug your boxing gym real quick before you jump on?
Yeah, we're Fight Night Boxing Gym. It's at 2421 Hyde Park Boulevard. It's you can find us on fightnight.com, and it's a great atmosphere there. And we have, there were some women out there that want to do boxing. Please come out and join us. We got a good we got a Saturday morning sparring that's it's becoming one of the premier female boxing places. So it's really worth it.
Awesome. Thank you guys so much for coming on, and exactly an hour, and I'll let you out of here. I appreciate your time. Thank you so much, and good luck with everything you're trying to accomplish.
All right, Jeff. Thank you so much.
You guys from Caveman's Corner, we're out of here, guys.